today. Greetings, my name is Erika Nawinda, and thank you so much for making time for us. Now, tonight's show is going to be a very short one, and we'll go right into the interview. Tonight, I am joined by that is veteran actor Aramas Shivute to discuss that is matters within the film industry. Good evening, sir, and welcome to Business Today.
Good evening, ma'am, and nice for having me.
All right. Now, growing up as a child, I've seen you on my TV screen. I've seen you in films such as One Fun Day, and I must say I am a fan, and I am delighted that is, of course, to have you this evening. Now, let's start with the interview. Perhaps just a brief introduction of yourself, a little background, and we'll take the interview from there.
Yeah, an introduction, of course. My name is Aramas Shivute Aramas, like you rightly said, and. Right. I was born in Windhoek some few years ago, and moved to the north. My father took me to the north when I was a very small baby, where I grew up, raised by my grandmother. I went to school there, and I did my first theater play back in the years. That was 1989. It's a school theater play that we did at school. And after high school, I moved back to Windhoek around 94. And of course, then when I came to Windhoek, that's when I picked up acting seriously. And I did my first television work, if I'm not mistaken, in 1989, 99. That is the One Fine Day. And yeah, today as we speak, I'm around about 25 years in the film industry.
Amazing. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Talk to us about the state of the film industry way back and now. Talk to us about the growth and where we are as we speak.
Well, indeed, the film industry have started from a very humble beginning. If we remember the TV shows TV shows such as One Fine Day that I just spoke about, the village squares and so forth. Then those were really shows that were done from a very passionate point of view, not necessarily from an industry point of view. But then since then it has grown, not grown to the extent that we all wish for or that we all are dreaming for, but yes, it's taking up its rightful place, and we are working very hard on growing it to the level that we all want to see it. Whether we call it an industry yet, I'm not sure, but I would love to call it an industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, tonight we are discussing that is, of course, commercializing the specific industry. What would you say, or what is your take on the fact that some make it look like it's not an industry or a career that one can make a living from? What are your sentiments on that, and perhaps what points can actually be taken, or what is your view in where we stand as regards in regards to commercializing that is the film industry?
Yeah, I mean, for one to call it a fully developed industry, it should be, or it should have the status of numbers that we can show and say the film industry have employed so many people, it contributes so much towards the economy of the country.
Right.
And in terms of production also, do we have the return on investment, do we have the money, and but at the moment, every time Aramas have got an idea of shooting a film, Aramas will always run to company A to seek for money.
Right.
It's always something that is happening. But then when it's an industry, it should be at a position where Aramas says, I've got my fully set up company, I've got X amount of money in the bank, my board members should approve an X amount of budget for production. So it's one or two people that are able to do that.
Right.
And we are not there yet. We are working towards making it an industry. But how do we make it an industry? We need to speak from one voice. We need to go to government and say, government, we want to make this as an industry, but then we need your support. But government alone cannot successfully do so. We need to go to the government and say, the unemployment rate in the country is very high. And this is how we as a film industry are willing or able to solve this problem. Yeah.
Right. Now, talking about government, there was good news that is for Namibia's film industry. And of course, Minister, or rather Deputy Minister of ICT, last week actually at an official launch, he did actually deliver some great news regarding the Namibia film industry. Perhaps let's take a look and hear Aramas, veteran actor Aramas Shivute's view on what the Deputy Minister of ICT delivered last week at the Film Week. Well, we do apologize. That is for that mistake right there. The insert will indeed be played later on the program. To continue with the interview, Aramas, let's talk about the potential that the industry actually holds in terms of its contribution, that is to the economy and employment, just more in depth.
Well, the industry have got a potential, a very big potential to contribute towards the national economy.
Yeah.
We speaking earlier on, I just mentioned the employment creation that the industry is able to contribute towards. And if you look at the production of let me make example of Katutura, for example, or fish out of the water by Vixen Angola. How many Namibian actors were employed on that? The crew, how many Namibian crews?
I remember I was an extra in the Katutura movie. I mean, it was a great production, a big production.
Exactly.
Award-winning for that matter.
For that matter.
Yeah.
And of course, if we're now talking about if that production alone can employ for about maybe 60 or 70 Namibians at once, and we have 4 or 5 productions in a year taking place or happening in Namibia, how many people are we able to employ? And those people that we are employing, they are getting an income, right? And from there, they will be walking into a local retailer or shop to buy bread.
Purchase,
So when they buy bread, not only that they are taking the food at home, but they are also contributing towards the national tax. So there is many ways on how the film industry is able to assist the government in terms of creation of employment. Now it's up to us to really work together, have one voice, speak the same language, and go to government and say, this is how we are able to assist you in getting rid of this problem. So again, it's about how well are we equipped, how well are we able to speak together with one voice and government hear us. And here we should not only focus on government alone, we should also look at other, the private sector, for example. I'll give you an example of the term where soap opera came from, for example. It came from an advertisement from America. This company wanted to advertise a soap, right? That's where the term soap opera came from. So these companies want to advertise. If they want to advertise and make an impact really and get the return on investment, they should come and approach the film industry.
Right. Now, earlier on, we did mention that we do have an insert, of course, that is a speech made by the Minister, or the Deputy Minister of ICT, that is last week at the Namibia Film Week. Let's now take a look.
Excellent. Whatever happens, you bury your family.
Unlike the dead, secrets don't remain buried.
The Film Week is an initiative that speaks directly to the very heart of our creative sector. Over the next 4 days, we will witness the powerful potential of storytelling through the screening of over 20 films, including short films, feature-length productions, and documentaries. These films serve as a window into the experiences, aspirations, and challenges faced by people across our nation and beyond. This year's edition of the Film Week brings exciting new heights. For the first time, we have opened the event to international submissions. This expansion allows us to celebrate a greater diversity of voices and to build stronger connections with filmmakers worldwide.
Now, that was the Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, that is Modestus Amutse, just sharing his sentiments at that is the launch of the Namibia Film Week that took place last week. Now, Aramas Shivute, what are your sentiments or what are your remarks on that on those sentiments shared by our Deputy Minister?
Well, I should say the Deputy Minister was speaking facts. Facts, as we speak right now, I just came from the closing ceremony of the Namibia Film Week. And this year, the Namibia Film Commission received over 3,000 applicants from people who wanted to be part of the Film Week. And we're talking about applicants from as far as Asia, you know, the likes of Japan, China, and so forth, and the rest of Africa. And that only shows the interest that other countries have in the Namibian film industry.
Right.
And also, when you look at, when we speak about other streaming platforms such as Netflix and so forth, they do not have much interest in Namibia because of our population. They say we do not form up even 1% of their market. Now, one way of making up those numbers is to collaborate with our brothers from Africa and elsewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And this is one way that we can do it, like we have seen now with the applications that NFC have received. So it is actually a very good thing that government can see.
Yeah, is acknowledging.
Is acknowledging what is happening. It's now up to us to go and meet government halfway and say, this is how we can make it work.
Okay. Now, coming from a background, broadcast background, as a writer, producer, would you say that the industry actually has platforms that is on when it comes to national broadcasting opportunities? Are there platforms enough for us to actually go out there and get our products viewed or our local stories told?
Well, the platforms, we have the likes of NBC,
Absolutely.
we have the likes of you know, other platforms. But the question is really, how do we work together with those platforms? The first problem that comes to mind, or the first challenge that comes to mind, is, for example, if I have a film, how much is NBC willing to give me, or is NBC able to give me what I want? It's now, how do we connect those dots to make sure that our films are broadcasted here locally? Because in most cases, filmmakers, they would rather go and make deals somewhere else where they can get a return on investment before they can come and offer their films locally. But the only way that we can make up, the other way that we can make up those numbers also, is really to speak to our platforms and say, look, before I approach company A, I need to show them numbers. But how do I get to those numbers? Is by working together, closely together with our local platforms. So I think for our population, the platforms that we have should be enough. The question is, how well are we willing to collaborate?
Yeah. Right. Now, perhaps just take us through the challenges that industry makers actually face on a daily basis when it comes to coming up with content as well as putting in the work in these films.
The first one that comes to mind, obviously, is the funding that we don't have in the country. it's very costly to make a film. You can, of course, you can meet 2 or 3 friends and say, look, let's do this thing, and we see the business side of things a little bit later. But it shouldn't work like that. It should really work like a business from the beginning. And then it should also, as an industry, we should also, apart from creative minds, we should also have business minds in the industry, just for us to be able to have, while Aramas is focusing on the creativity, you know, Erica should focus on the business side of things. And once we know that the business side of things is taken care of, and we know the creativity side of it, because gone are the days where Aramas was slash what. Let me focus on acting, somebody else focus on writing, somebody else focus on directing and bringing in the money and whatever the producers and so forth. So I think that is the only way that we can really be able to put up good content, and not only good content, but market-related content.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Aramas, finally, before we let you go, where do you see the film industry, given that it's in the near future or in the future? Where do you see it if the necessary support is given?
Yeah, no, first, before I get to the answer, I should also just indicate that I'm sitting here with 2 hats today as a professional myself, and also as a board member of the Filmmakers Association of Namibia. And one thing that we are focusing on as an association is to get numbers, filmmakers to get together, and then we can see how do we spearhead this initiative. And really getting back to the question, it's like I said, FEN is trying to bring people together to be able to work towards an industry. And we are also, my board will probably be angry with me, but I'll mention it anyway. At the moment, we are working on a document, a position paper. A position, we have, our website is up and running as of today, and we have released a tender looking for people to come on board and do a few studies for us, work on this position paper. What does the position paper entail? The position paper will be able to tell us, look, as a film industry, this is what we want to do, number 1. Number 2, this is what we want from government or from whoever that have got the money somewhere. And number 3, we want to tell government that, look, this is how we are going to, if you give us the money, this is how we are going to help you create 400 jobs in a year or more, you understand? So we are working at a very, I don't want to say fast pace, but also a very well-planned pace, so that we can see how far we can go in terms of getting some assistance from government. And once we get that assistance, we will see how this film industry is blossoming. And we have film festivals that are taking place across Africa. Last week or so, there was one in Durban, and in a few weeks there will be another one in Botswana, Bantu Film Festival. And I'm planning to go there myself. And the reason why we want to go there is, or why we're going to such festivals, is for us to go and lobby for support from these festivals, to go and network for support, to go and see how can Namibia collaborate with other film industry to strengthen our position, and especially when it comes to the platforms that we spoke about earlier on. So it's only by collaboration that we are able to make up the numbers. If South Africa and Namibia, and or if Namibia collaborate with South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Angola that have got some numbers, then we can easily say, yes, the product that we are setting up can also be viewed in South Africa, in Botswana, and so on. Here are the numbers that we are looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, any final remarks before we let you go, Aramas, in regards to the film industry and, of course, the future, and for perhaps potential sponsors that are watching right now and want to invest in this industry?
Of course, let me start with a very interesting one. This, the sponsors, the potential sponsors that you just mentioned. Of course, sponsors are very, very important for an industry like ours, because not only will they be able to advertise on our products, but they will also assist us to tell stories about ourselves, to tell African stories. You know, and gone are the days when if you go in the streets now and you have got, what is your favorite American movie growing up?
Madea, anything by Madea.
Anything by Madea.
Yeah,
you know,
anything.
the culture that these guys have implanted into us, it's so massive. But when are we going to implant our own culture in them? I want to go into New York one day, and when I'm in New York, I'll find somebody wearing Oderela, not because the person is from Namibia.
Or even have a conversation
or even have a conversation
the same
with us.
question that you ask, and they'll be able to tell you
And they'll be able to tell the local film that exactly. So the dressing styles that we have seen, most of these dressing styles are picked up by our kids from these films. When are we going to impose ours on them?
Right.
Yes. And then lastly, perhaps just to say, like I said, I'm also representing the Filmmakers Association, also just to urge the Namibian filmmakers, those that are not members yet, to join us as FEN and then assist us to drive this wagon in the right direction. For me, it does not help me anything. It does not help you either. If you are a non-FEN member and you want to criticize what FEN is doing. Come and let's criticize each other on the same platform. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Aramas, for making time for us. And of course, all the best with your future plans, that is for this specific industry that is close to our hearts.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Now, that was veteran actor Aramas Shivute, and of course, just discussing progress made in the local film industry and whether the industry has economic potential. Now, that also brings us to the end of tonight.